The UUCT care team follows up with congregants who are experiencing joys or sorrows. The care team also addresses needs of congregants. The care team can be contacted by email at careteam@uutampa.org. And now to our service.
Good morning and welcome to the Unitarian Universalist Church of Tampa. I'm Fran Davin, your worship associate for today. Let us begin our service with the lighting of our chalice, with the words of Catherine Callahan, who says to us, as the chalice is lit, let us come together into the sacred space we have created. Let the cares of the day fall away and know that there is a place for quiet reflection, for a pause in our lives, for breathing into our true selves. Let what is said and felt here add richness to the dimension of our lives and our spiritual practices. We are strong together in community. We share the experience of being human. Let the warmth of the chalice lit during our time together connect us and carry us into the world.
Hi, my name is Erin Powers, and I am the Director of Religious Exploration for Children and Youth here at the Unitarian Universalist Church of Tampa. And today's story for you is called The Starfish Thrower. This is a well-circulated story attributed to Lauren C. Easley. And it all started when a young girl was walking along a beach. It was a sunny and calm day, the kind of day that feels fresh and new. Lots and lots of people were out enjoying the blue skies. There had been a terrible storm the day before, and thousands of starfish had been washed up on the beach. And when this girl came to each starfish, she would pick it up and throw it back into the ocean. People watched her with amusement. She had been doing this for some time when someone approached her and said, "Why are you doing this? Look at this beach. You can't save all these starfish. You can't even begin to make a difference." Well, the girl looked at this person sideways, and then she bent down, picked up another starfish, and hurled it as far as she could into the ocean. And then she said, "Well, I made a difference for that one. At a loss for words, the person could think of nothing else to say or do except to bend down, pick up a starfish, and send it sailing as far as they could into the ocean. Soon others, who only watched and giggled before, joined in, and so many starfish were saved. And in saving the starfish, the people energized themselves with joy and fellowship. And they took the lesson of the starfish thrower with them to remember that we cannot save everyone, but we can make a difference for someone. And with that, our story ends.
Reverend Catherine Schmitz is an ordained Unitarian minister and our guest speaker for today. Reverend Kathy describes herself as an eco-humanist, strongly influenced by Buddhist practice and teaching. She has a passion for interfaith work and is a longtime environmentalist and associate advocate for social justice. Semi-retired, when she is not off visiting grandchildren, Reverend Kathy resides in Orlando with her husband, Charlie Behrens.
Our reading for meditation is credited to ancient Chinese Taoist writer Lao Tzu. May it be an invitation to create peace in our world and in our lives. If there is to be peace in the world, there must be peace in the nations. If there is to be peace in the nations, there must be peace in the cities. If there is to be peace in the cities, there must be peace between neighbors. If there is to be peace between neighbors, there must be peace in the home. If there is to be peace in the home, there must be peace in the heart. Let us find and let us create that peace in all aspects of our lives as we reflect in silence together. We begin today with one of my favorite selections from Scripture. You may be familiar with it. It comes from the very beginning of the book, Chapter 1, in which we are introduced to Winnie the Pooh and some bees, and the stories begin. It reads, "Here is Edward Bear, coming downstairs now, bump, 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 on the back of his head, behind Christopher Robin. It is, as far as he knows, the only way of coming downstairs. But sometimes he feels that there really is another way, if only he could stop bumping for a moment and think about it. And then he feels that perhaps there isn't. Anyhow, here he is at the bottom and ready to be introduced to you, Winnie the Pooh." Bumping. Have you ever felt like this? Bump, 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 having trouble putting together a thought? The bumping of life can make it hard not just to gather our thoughts, but it can rob us of our creativity and our compassion. There are so many ways that life bumps us around. Busy, of course, can be life bumping. If we can stop the busy for a minute, we can decide if what we're doing is even important or if we're doing it the right way. Fear can be like bumping. If we can stop our fear for a minute, we can decide if there really is something to be afraid of. Even fun can sometimes be like bumping when we get caught up in the moment and the teasing escalates. Can we pause long enough to decide if the way we are acting shows what we really think is important? Bumping. I suppose it's part of life, and yet at times we just need a pause in the bump. I think of summer as a less bumpy time. Most schools are out. Many people have a chance for some time off. Even congregational life often seems to slow a bit, with fewer committee meetings and other breaks in the action. Maybe, just maybe, we can take advantage of the change of pace to regain our balance, to consider, to recalibrate just a bit. Maybe we can imagine ways to help us manage the bumping of life so that those future bumps that we will inevitably encounter will be less likely to throw off our intended course. In addition to the usual summer break from bumping this year, we have the opportunity to fold in the lessons of this time from quarantine from which we are beginning to emerge. Can you think of times when some downtime has served you well? That new perspective at work after vacation. More patience with the kids after tea with a friend. That sticky problem you wrestled with for an hour that suddenly mysteriously solves itself after you walk away for just a few minutes. Whether it's a few weeks or a few minutes, downtime, a pause in the bumping, allows for self-reflection and reconnection and reorienting. It allows us to think about the things that really matter, to set priorities. It can provide grounding and allow a natural rhythm to return. It can allow us to integrate new experiences and reintegrate our past. A break in the action can coax us to remember our best self. It can return us to love. Unfortunately, our culture can sometimes discourage us from living balanced lives. This contemporary story, with which I have taken a few liberties, may illustrate. A wealthy investor was walking by the pier of a small coastal village when a tour boat pulled up. The captain secured the ropes, unloaded a group of passengers. When the last of the tourists had disembarked, the investor watched as the captain sat down near the boat with a tall drink, feet up on a pier railing. The investor wandered over, complimented the captain on the condition of the boat, and inquired as to how long they'd been out that morning. "Oh, not too long," said the captain. "Are you headed out again soon?" "No, not today. Why?" "Well, surely there are many more folks here who would pay for a tour." "I've done all I need for today." "Well, what are you going to do now?" "I'm going to go home and have lunch with my family, and then I may take a nap. This evening I'm looking forward to attending a rally with some friends." "But if you have all that time, why don't you go out and do more tours?" "But why?" "Well, if you spent more time doing tours, you could buy a bigger boat, and you could go further and carry more people. Then perhaps you could buy an even bigger boat and maybe someday have a fleet. You could be rich like me." "And then what would I do?" "And then you would really be able to enjoy life." What do you think I'm doing right now? Many of us appreciate the captain's simple wisdom, and yet many of us also find a voice similar to the investor's echoing in our heads. We want to spend time on the beach and watch the sun rise or set, to enjoy the signals of a new day beginning or another coming to a close, to enjoy the company of friends and loved ones. And yet there is a nagging, something we must do. Some of us find it hard to take a break. For those of you who do not, and who are wondering what the heck I'm talking about, consider this an opportunity to understand some of what may be going on in the hearts and minds of those dear to you. Some of us may at times find it hard to take a break. Did you ever want someone else to take a vacation for the benefit of everyone? Have you ever been that person, the one everyone wishes would take a vacation? People in need of a break may seem to thrash around. They lack perspective. They may be taking it out, whatever it is, on everyone. They're so tired, they don't know how tired they are. Vacations can be a beautiful thing. They don't need to be grand. You don't need to go far, if anywhere. What we often need is a change in rhythm. And while vacations can be nice, not everyone has the option of time off when they need it. Some of us used all our vacation 6 months ago and won't earn any more for another 6 months. Some of us used all our vacation dealing with sick children and parents and didn't get a vacation or downtime at all. Some of us are part-time workers or self-employed, and vacations aren't really a thing in our context. There are more, but I hope you get the idea. So we must find other ways then to reset our rhythm when getting away isn't one of our options. Many spiritual practices have developed across time and space, providing opportunities for resetting, for calming the bumping, if only for a while. We can adapt them to our context or worldview. Most of them can be varied in length to meet our own circumstances. Which of these have you explored or might you explore? Meditation of various kinds that helps to quiet and focus the mind. Prayer, which can take many forms, and to whoever or whatever it is addressed, it can invite us to lift up what we value, to give praise, to offer our gratitude, to give thanks, to name our regrets and our fears, to lament, to give voice to our hopes. To give voice to our hopes. Journaling is a way that we can capture what's going on for us and see how it looks on a piece of paper. Sitting on the beach or gardening or artwork or other everyday spiritual practices all can have a restorative quality. Most of these can be done nearly any time and anywhere. Someone once told me that they couldn't meditate because they were on the road all the time traveling. But I suggested that what better way to create continuity amid a space, amid all the disruption that lifestyle might bring. All you need, wherever you are, whenever you are, is your breath and your intention. Science tells us that 6 slow, deep breaths can change our physiology, offering us relief from stress and anxiety. Muslims pray 5 times a day. Imagine stopping 5 times a day to remember what is important to you. Hindus practice yoga to train and focus the body and mind. The world offers us weekly Sabbaths. The secular calendar includes New Year's resolutions. Earth-based calendars offer us seasonal changes. We can learn from the lessons of atonement and forgiveness embedded in the Jewish High Holy Days, or those of balance infused in the Islamic month of Ramadan. What would you add to this list of invitations to pause? Tricia Hershey, founder of the NAP Ministry, says this: I believe also that our lack of resting has stolen our imagination and our ability to be inventive and subversive and to imagine and to have hope. And to me, that's true oppression. Hersey sees rest as a radical act of resistance and decolonization, especially for Black people whose rest has often been and continues to be disrupted by white supremacy. Rest is a necessity that is too often for too many treated as a privilege. Non-stop bumping makes it hard for us to take action for change and social justice. Even if we have the privilege of rest and restoration, we may be challenged by the quandary articulated by American author E.B. White when he wrote, "If the world were merely seductive, that would be easy. If it were merely challenging, that would be no problem. But I arise in the morning torn between a desire to improve the world and a desire to enjoy the world. That makes it hard to plan the day." Ever since hearing White's quip years ago, I have aspired to find ways to bridge that dichotomy, to look for the moments when I can find joy in efforts to improve the world. In my version of the boat captain story, I added the plan to attend a rally with friends. For the captain, the morning was work, the afternoon was rest, and the evening may very well have been the satisfaction of combining friendship with activism, doing something worthwhile that did not seem to take effort, though it likely did. Have you had such moments? Maybe with the good folks you know in this congregation, maybe acting for the benefit of the congregation or for the wider community. What elements help you discover both meaning and joy in a moment? It's helpful to remember that the answer here will be different for each person. Some of us are energized by action with a group, others are exhausted. Some could sit on the deck and write meaningful notes all day, others not so much. Some need extended periods of rest. Others, like that, keep going, taking more shorter rests along the way. One of my long-standing dreams for all of our congregations is that most people would be doing whatever they're doing for their congregation with joy. With joy. You know, maybe Chris can be happy all day in the kitchen, but breaks out in a sweat when confronted with a spreadsheet. Should we ask Chris to serve on the finance team? Maybe Jules is a great organizer with a passion for social justice, but turns into a drill sergeant when organizing a painting project with the kids. Should we ask Jules to lead a children's religious education class? Your answer to that actually may depend on your opinion of drill sergeants, but I hope you get my point. Of course, there will always likely be tasks that need to be done and that very few find fun. But imagine this, if we haven't worn everyone out doing ill-suited tasks, we'll have so much more energy to rise to those occasions. One caution this summer, especially as we emerge from quarantine, especially as you do your ministry without your usual complement of professionals. Remember to take a good look at who is doing a lot. Maybe because they're good at it, maybe because they have the time or the energy, maybe because they're too kind to let it fail. And make sure they're getting the rest they need, and the appreciation they need, and the support they need. This week, think of one person you can support or appreciate or give a break, and then do it. This is a good practice in all areas of our life. If we are to survive in this life, we will need to take care. Some of that is self-care, and it can come in many forms, such as rest and play and a little indulgence at times. But if we want to do more than survive, if we want to truly thrive, we will need more than self-care. We will need community care. We will need not just to remind each other to take care, we will need to offer care. Care in the form of support, in the form of appreciation, in the form of rest and restoration. I believe that congregations are uniquely suited to offer and to organize community care, so that the bumpy world in which we live will find no one bumping alone. I wish you a less bumpy summer, and I wish you the connections that make it all worthwhile. May it be so.
To support the UUCT with your generous financial gifts, please go to the UUCT website and click on the Click Here link to donate. It will take you to our donation page, and you can securely make your donation to the church. Thank you.
I am not a stranger to the dark. Hide away, they say, 'cause we don't watch your broken parts. I've learned to be ashamed of all my scars. Run away, they say, no one will love you as you are. But I won't let them break me down to dust. I know that there's a place for us, for your glorious. When the sharpest words want to cut me down, gonna send a flood, gonna drown them out. I am brave, I am bruised, I am who I'm meant to be. This is me. Look out, 'cause here I come. And I'm marching on to the beat I drum. I'm not scared to be seen. I make no apologies. This is me. Another round of bullets hit my skin, but far away, 'cause today I won't let the shake sink in. We are bursting through the barricades and reaching for the sun. Yeah, that's what we become. Won't let them bring me down to dust. I know that there's a place for your glorious. When the sharpest words want to cut me down, gonna send a flood, gonna drown them out. I am brave, I am bruised, I am who I'm meant to be. This is me. Look out, 'cause here I come. And I'm marching on to the beat I drum. I'm not scared to be seen. I make no apologies. This is me. This is me. You know that I deserve love. There's nothing on the when the sharpest words wanna cut me down, I'm gonna send a flood, gonna drown them out. This is brave, this is bruised, this is who I'm meant to be. This is me. Look out, 'cause here I come. Look out, 'cause here I come. And I'm marching on to the beat I drum. Marching on, marching on, this is make no apologies. This is me. The world wanna cut me down. The sun floods down. This is me.
We extinguish our chalice today with the words of wisdom from Reverend Scott Taylor, who tells us, kick the ball, Dance in the rain. Get lost on purpose. Play fetch with the dog. Fly the kite. Smell the flowers. Jump in the puddles. Pull out the paints. Throw the dice. Learn the two-step. Let life take you by the hand. Lean back and let the wind mess up your hair. Laugh. Live. Live. That concludes our service for today. Go now in peace. Go now in love. And may that peace and love remain in our hearts until we meet again.